Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning and welcome to Encounter. I'm your host today. My name is Joe Sellepack. I'm the Executive Director at the Broome County Council of Churches. Thanksgiving is an important part of the church's life. Meister Eckhart, a mystic from early on, said that if there is one prayer that we say, and let it be thank you. Thank you is the prayer that we say almost every week in Eucharist. The great Thanksgiving is a part of the life of the church. 10 lepers, one of my favorite stories, will be healed and one will return. And we follow in the church that one who does come back to Jesus to offer thanks. And we do that almost every week. So Thanksgiving is very important. So what do you think? How important is Thanksgiving for the life of the church?
I think Thanksgiving is central. As you alluded to just now, in the Eucharist, which in my tradition is the central act of Christian worship, the word Eucharist is an old Greek word and just means thanksgiving. So the very central act of our coming together is giving thanks. And we even call the prayer the Great Thanksgiving. So it's absolutely central to Christian practice and experience, in my view.
It's the basis of all that we do in every other kind of witness that we do, because if you're not grateful, you don't have a sense of what's been given to you, and you don't have a sense for what you can offer to others. So for me, gratitude, thanksgiving, is the basis of being Christian and living a Christian life.
And today my guests are the Reverend Kimberly Chastain.
Hi.
From the United Presbyterian Church, and Reverend Mark Giroux from St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Chenango Bridge, and Kimberly's in Binghamton.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about your congregations?
It's an Episcopal church outside Binghamton, but not far outside. We have a vibrant congregation. On Sundays, we get roughly 150, 160 people. Mix of ages. We believe in having a lot of fun together, and also together trying to change the world a little bit. We've worked with the Council of Churches and the wheelchair ramp program and the child program and some others, and we feel not only that we want to celebrate and give thanks, but we want to spread the blessings we've been given to those around us. We have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
United Binghamton is a combination of two historic churches in Binghamton, the First Presbyterian Church on Chenango Street, where we're currently housed, and the West Presbyterian Church, which was over on Main Street. And about 10 years ago, they started conversations about why there were two big historic Presbyterian churches in downtown Binghamton. And 5 years ago, they started putting the pieces in place to become one church. And they became one church almost exactly 4 years ago, and they called me 6 months later, and I'm the first installed pastor there. And we are a cottage congregation in a cathedral building. We have a lot of social activity going on. In fact, this week we're hosting the mobile food pantry. So if anybody would like to get some volunteer hours in, we could use you next Wednesday when we're going to be giving food to about 200 people from the mobile food pantry truck. And we have a community meal, and we host the Urban League school-age child care program and the GED program, and our goal is to be a place where everyone can be welcome and where lives are changed.
Well, these amazing things happening in both of your churches, so thank you for being on Encounter today. Thanksgiving, so let's try to flesh that out a little bit more. The Great Thanksgiving that you talked about is very important to, especially within the Eucharist. So can we at least give them the words for that? I mean, that's something that I think an Episcopal would know. Episcopalian. The Lord be with you and also with you.
It begins, the
Yeah.
structure of the prayer begins with greeting between the presider and the congregation as we're all called to lift our hearts to God in thanksgiving. And then the prayer goes on to give thanks to God for creation and for the blessings we've been given in that way. And then, because we are in a Christian context, we give thanks for the life and death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And the prayer also commemorates the Last Supper, in which he fed his friends with bread and wine. And we ask God's blessing on the bread and wine that we present, and then we share that together and are empowered to go out and serve the world in his name. And that's sort of the basic flow and structure.
And it kind of gives the opening line for the congregation is, it is good and it's right.
It is a right and good and joyful
thing.
Always and everywhere to give thanks.
Right, and so this is an important thing that we need to remember. It's important. Kimberly, you were sharing that you're just returning from an experience where gratitude was really important to you.
Yeah, I was with the clergy witness at Standing Rock in North Dakota, and I was at the camp that was set up to receive most of the visitors, and was overwhelmed by the fact that the whole witness of the Native people against the pipeline is rooted in their gratitude to Mother Earth, and especially for water. Mini-Wachoni is the catchphrase, which means water is life. And every morning the women of the camp gather together and give thanks for water, which is the basis of life, and offer thanksgiving to God. And all of it, all of their witness, all of their demonstration, all of their practice is rooted in prayer and in thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And it's the strangest thing in the world to see people being hauled off to jail while they are praying. But a little Navajo elder who was there with us said, your job is to pray, and if you get arrested, you be sure that you're praying while you're arrested. And by the grace of God, I did not get arrested. But I felt surrounded and uplifted by this thanksgiving and this gratitude that permeated the camp, and that is the basis of the witness for life. It's not against the pipeline as much as it is for keeping the water. They call themselves water protectors. And gratitude to the water, gratitude to the Creator for the good in nature is the basis of the protest.
And that comes out when we're giving thanks for creation within the life of the church. Mm-hmm. Creation seems to me, if we're thinking theologically, oftentimes we view ourselves on a level above creation. You know, we're human beings. We're not like the grass. We're not like the air. We're not like these things. And somehow we feel as if we're somehow above that. But if we really want to give thanks, we find that we're more a part of it. It's part of our life. You can't stomp on grass and kill grass without killing a part of yourself. Is that true?
Well, and I think it is, and I think that there's a cycle of life where you recognize that animals and plants give their life for the nourishment of other animals and plants, and the only way to respect that or appreciate that or value that is to be thankful and to offer what you can. Pay it forward, is that the expression? To offer what you can for the upbuilding of the next one, as you have been offered what you receive. Mm-hmm. And recognizing that everything we have and everything that we are comes as a gift is the basis for giving and giving freely to others.
I have an embarrassing personal story to tell. Home videos can be so embarrassing. And I was probably about 13 or 14 years old one Christmas when my mom had a home video camera, and she's taking the home movies of the whole family. And she taped us one Christmas morning as we ran joyfully down the stairs to open our gifts. We're all in our pajamas and all that, and there we are opening the presents and celebrating. Well, then the scene cut. She was filming again 3 hours later or something, because my younger siblings and I are all dressed. And my 2 younger brothers and my younger sister are playing with the toys they had received. I'm OCD, and in the background you see me at a bench writing something. And I'm embarrassed to say, I was writing my thank you notes for my Christmas present. And it's documented. I was doing it within 3 hours of reception because I'm so driven to do that. I'd been trained by my mom to say thank you. And it's kind of a funny story about me and the way my family views me. But I realized she had taught me a great lesson, because Thanksgiving is not only a way for us to connect to creation and not only a way for us to give blessings to others and share our abundance. Thanksgiving also has a great impact on ourselves. Absolutely. When we give thanks, we actually raise our happiness level. And over the past year, I've sort of had this reading project of reading a bunch of psychological studies, because that was an area of my education quite neglected. And I've learned through some of these summaries of psychological studies that the very act of giving thanks raises our happiness level. They call it hedonic adaptation or some such thing. The idea is that when things are going well for you, you get used to it. You get comfortable with it. Even with lottery winners, they win the lottery, they're ecstatic for 3 months, and then they settle into the same basic level of happiness they had before. One of the strategies for raising our happiness is to focus on the wonderful things in our lives, to consciously give thanks for them, and that actually, according to these studies, raises our happiness level. And I found it true in my own life. Going back to writing my thank you notes as a kid for Christmas presents. Thanks, Mom, for that great lesson. I really appreciate it.
One of my favorite poets is Mary Oliver. And she wrote a very short poem that said, "Someone I once loved gave me a box of darkness, and it was years before I understood that this too was a gift." And I think that the practice not only of looking at the great things and being thankful, but also looking at the difficult things and looking at the struggles and seeing the places in which you can learn from them and that they can be gifts, is another practice that can be really helpful. Not maybe when you're in the midst of the struggle, but when you're tired and resting afterward and looking for what comes next, to be able to say, there's a basis here that can be built on. And I think that at this Christmas season, with so many losses in the world and so much chaos, the ability to look at what the gifts are and to say, we're finding out connections to people we never knew of. We're remembering Leonard Cohen's poetry and Leon Russell's music, and the losses have brought us a new appreciation for the good. Is a way into what you're talking about, raising the level of happiness, but also recognizing that not everything that looks dark at the time is without blessing.
Recently, my wife and I had someone break into our garage, and they stole some things from us. All added up, it was $1,000+ worth of tools and other things that came out from that. And my wife's bike was among the things that was stolen. She loves her bike. It's one of those, if there's one thing in my life that you don't want to take away from me, it's my grill. For my wife, it's her bike. And she loves that bike. And somebody stole that bike. And not only that, they stole my father's. My father had given me a tool set, and all of those were taken as well. And I remember the morning of, going back to your point, the morning of, I walked in there, and I saw what had been done, and I remember it infuriated me first of all, but then it broke me. I felt felt broken. I felt violated. I went into the office and I canceled my appointments for the day, and I just went home and had to take care of, the broken window and a bunch of other things that had been taken care of there. But the funny thing was, I put it out on Facebook. I said, I basically said what happened, and people from my gym found out about it, and they did, without me knowing it, they went out and did an appeal to everybody, and they bought me a tool set. And then my staff found out about it, and they went out and collected money and for my wife to get a new bike. They put money toward that. And it's interesting to me that even though I will always miss that tool set. Sure. I'll have a new story with that new tool set, and it's a story of gratitude in both for the one that was lost, but also for the one that I have. Yeah. And there's something specific about that in everything, give thanks. Find something to give thankful for, and then speak it. Tell people that you're thankful and that you're grateful, and these kind acts that come to us out of nowhere can help us understand it and be able to share it with each other. But
also, Joe, it wasn't just kind acts that came out of nowhere, because you also spoke and shared your brokenness, and that allowed people to give to you.
Yeah.
And to get back to Leonard Cohen of blessed memory, there's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in.
Right.
We're talking about gratitude as the basis for giving to others, but there's also brokenness as the basis for receiving. When we are open to others, then the capacity for gratitude becomes greater, because we've given them the gift of ourselves, and they have then in turn been able